My Brugmansia is absolutely covered in flowers right now, but there's something else all over it. My neighbor's honeybees. And that got me wondering, because Brugmansia is one of the most poisonous plants growing in my garden. But it gets stranger. The bees are also visiting my Datura, another seriously poisonous plant with a rather bizarre history. So if honeybees are collecting pollen from poisonous flowers, can these toxins actually end up in the honey? Today we're going to find out, but first, there's a lot going on in the garden. Hi everyone, it's Tim. Welcome back to my garden. It is so nice out and I am loving this August. Everything's like growing like crazy. We've had a lot of rain. It's really warm. It is very jungle-like. And today I'm actually concentrating on a single subject, but we're still going to see a lot of the garden. But we're going to talk about hallucinogenic honey. I can barely even say that.
Dude, I came to this party and everyone has mad honey. I'm tripping.
And the reason we're talking about that is because in the past week or two, I've been showing a lot of the bees going into my Brugmansia and my Datura, and I talked about that this is my neighbor's Italian honeybees. And some of you have written back and said, aren't those poisonous? And then a couple of you said, ooh, hallucinogenic honey, that sounds fun. And a couple of you were actually concerned. And I thought about it and I thought, wow, I used to have honeybees and I've always had, I think in my entire gardening life, I've had Brugmansia and I've had Datura most of that time. And I thought, I never really thought about that because Brugmansia, even the flower, if you inhale it, and I've read stories about this, people will get high off of it and hallucinate. Datura has a really fascinating history as well, going back to Jamestown when our founding fathers or new settlers all decided to cook Datura and then ended up being high for 2 weeks and had to be locked up. And that's why they often call Datura Jameson weed.
Look, I found a new plant for the pot. I wager it shall be to your liking.
I see dead people. So there's some history there. But either way, I thought, honey and Datura and Brugmansia, are we getting high off the honey? Does it have that potential? And I heard about hallucinogenic honey before, and I thought, oh my God, am I contributing to my neighbor's honey batch? Maybe it's the most popular honey ever. And they're seeing all kinds of fun things. But no, I wanted to investigate this because I'm not sure. I'm like, maybe I have been, when I had bees, maybe my honey was really potent. I don't know. But either way, it matches my hippie hair, so maybe it's time to get down on hallucinogenic honey. But let's investigate that a little bit. But we're gonna look into the garden too and see everything else. But thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please make comments. And if you've ever had the real hallucinogenic honey, I would love to hear it. But let's go check it out. Brugmansia, or the angel trumpet, or the tree datura, has a surprisingly rich history. And there's really 3 stories wrapped into one plant. It's an ancient South American plant, an absurdly extravagant ornamental, and a genuinely toxic member of the nightshade family. And long ago, humans apparently saw enormous dangling flowers containing powerful neurotoxins and naturally concluded we should grow this on our patio. Brugmansia is from South America, but it's been cultivated for so long that its wild history is actually a little murky. They were used traditionally in South America for their beauty, medicinal, ceremonial, and psychoactive purposes. And this is a plant that humans have been keeping alive for centuries precisely for this reason. It is a very easy plant to take care of. I've had some of these plants you're seeing here for over 20 years. I cut them way back in the fall. I bring them inside. I let them go dormant. They come back in the spring, and they triumph if you give them lots of food and water. And spider mites seem to be the only thing that really likes to attack them. But every single part of this plant should be regarded as toxic. I'm going to mispronounce these, but this plant contains tropane alkaloids and compounds such as scopolamine, hyoscyamine, and atropine. So they are very, very poisonous. And I would avoid calling Brugmansia hallucinogenic. Brugmansia is worse than that because the poisoning can cause confusion and delirium in which the person may not recognize that what they're experiencing isn't real, and that makes it a little more, not even a little more, a lot more dangerous. So at this point you're probably saying, is this even safe to grow? And my answer is, yes, it is. As long as you do some sensible precautions. It's widely cultivated as an ornamental. You can buy it many, many places online, in garden centers. The big concern is ingestion, and I would worry if I had children that chewed on things or pets that chewed leaves. You want to keep them away. Some people, when pruning, wear gloves. I have never done that, and I've even read that if you're pruning it and then touch your finger to your eyes can actually dilate, but I've never had that happen. So the phrase hallucinogenic flower sounds almost whimsical. It really should be a poisonous plant capable of causing hallucinations and severe delirium. I think that's a little more accurate. But if you're not eating it and you're using gloves and you're being careful with it, we still have the question, what about the honey? What about the bees that come and take the nectar from my Brugmansia? What about that? We'll come back to that.
When I drink my gin, I want to make sure there are no brain-eating amanibas.
When I give the kiddos gin, I want it to be natural, and they love it.
When I drink gin, I want gin the Hudson, river gin.
The crepe myrtles are blooming. This was a much taller plant, but the harsh winter did it in, but it has come back. It is truly a zone 7 and above plant, and I am in zone 6B, so this is zone pushing. And if you're a member of the group on Facebook called Zone Pushers, I used to contribute a lot on there, but then several people pointed out that, Tim, you are not a zone pusher because you box things in. So I stopped contributing. But this is truly zone pushing because I don't do anything to cover these in any way. But unfortunately, several of them did die to the ground. But I am getting flowers nonetheless on them. And I said I wasn't going to plant anymore, but now that they're blooming, I'm thinking, oh, I kind of really like them. And I want more, of course. As I am heading in the gate to my backyard, I notice my oleander, and I'm thinking, oh, more poisonous plants. I guess I just have poisonous plants everywhere. I just think my Washingtonia robusta, which is not poisonous, I don't think. Maybe it's lethal with its serrated stems on it, but Yeah, it's not poisonous. And this is papyrus. It's as tall as I am this year. But this little garden around my steps, I love this part because it gets a little shade in the late afternoon and it's really beautiful. This Trachycarpus is just getting so big, it just now towers over me. And several of you asked about the lotus. Here's the lotus in the middle of the koi pond. You can definitely tell that these two are lotus and not lily pads because they are towering over the pond. Don't think they're going to bloom this year. I'm still worried about keeping them outside in the pond over winter, but we will see. And while we're looking at flowering plants, let's look at this plumeria. I want to point this out. Look how this is blooming, which is beautiful, and it's got a great scent to it. But it is just getting leaves. It's August. This has been out since May. All of my other plumerias, most of my other plumerias, are fully leafed out. Some of them bloomed way back in May. This one's acting like I just took it outside. Just very odd. Ponderosa lemon is just getting nice and big. I mean, it's as big as my hand now. And it will get bigger than that. It still has a ways to go. And this other plumeria, you can see the nice big leaves on it, has been blooming off and on all summer long, which has been lovely. And this area over here has towered over my window. That ginger, my camarops, my musabastu, my rubber plant, rubber fig tree, they're just, you can barely see the window back there. So it looks so bare in the spring, but I overdid it now. And then this tropical banana here alongside the pond and my tree fern. They're looking pretty tropical too. So let's go to Datura. And a fun fact I was reading about is that Brugmansia, as you well know, is called angel's trumpet, but Datura is often called the devil's trumpet. I think that's very, very funny. So Brugmansia, the flowers hang down. Datura, the flowers go up. Like Brugmansia, Datura is widely cultivated, and it comes in many different colors. And the problem is that because it's so easy to produce by seed, it will show up everywhere. It's all over my garden. I see it often on the side of the road. But an important distinction is that just like Brugmansia, the psychedelic trip is not a fun trip with this plant. It is delirium, and it is very, very dangerous. And so you do not want to ingest or eat this plant in any way also. But now we're back to the same thing. What about the honey? We'll come back to that. I do mix a lot of perennials in with my tropicals. And I know my channel is New York Tropical Garden, but as you can see, the honeybees in my garden have plenty of opportunity to find pollen other than tropicals or even poisonous tropicals. These sunflowers I joke about all the time, but it's true. I did not plant them, and they are so tall, and the bees love them, and the birds love them. And even though they're blocking a little bit of my view down by the pool, I won't cut them down because I just feel like all of nature is living off of these sunflowers. And they're beautiful. And once you have an established perennial garden, you will have perennials coming up in places you weren't expecting perennials to come up. A lot of these I had on the hill, and they decided that they preferred being down by the pool. And even these cup flowers here are spreading nicely, and the bees are all in them as well. I did get a question last week asking if the hummingbirds go into the Datura or the Brugmansia. And I have never ever seen them, and I think it's because the flowers are too big, and I think they would not go into them because they would have to go totally into the flower. But I'm very curious if anybody else has seen that happen. They definitely have long beaks, but it's not long enough for this flower. So I have never seen hummingbirds go into either of these flowers, but I'm just curious. I've seen them go into trumpet vines and things like that, but that's a much smaller flower. So if you've seen it, I would love to hear from you on that, because I have never witnessed that at all. I love a good thunderstorm. But this morning, a little bit of smog from the wildfires is coming through, but it makes for a beautiful sunrise. And I know Europe had a pretty amazing eclipse this past week. And there's actually real psychedelic honey available. It is on the black market. This is not from the black market here. According to the internet, this is a very watered down version of it. It is from a certain type of bee that feeds on a rhododendron flower in Nepal and parts of Turkey. And it is real mad honey. It is psychedelic honey, but that is not what is available here in the United States. So what about us? What about those of us who have Brugmansia and Datura? What about my friends in California who have giant Brugmansia trees in their backyard? Are we contributing to honey that is psychedelic and causing issues and problems for people on the market? That is the big question. The answer is actually a little surprising. I was told if I tested my neighbor's honey, there would probably be traces of the chemicals in the honey, but because the bees feed on so many flowers, it would never be a danger or even an issue with the honey. So I thought that was really interesting, that all those chemicals would probably show up in the honey, but so diluted to never cause a problem. But I was thinking, if I had a field full of Brugmansia and Datura, and the bees were harvesting it at one particular time, and I was able to get the honey at that particular time, maybe it would be something. But bees travel so far to gather the pollen. So it's just because they're next door and just because they're in my garden. They are visiting gardens for miles around. So it's not just my garden. I think we're all pretty safe with our honey. So if you were looking for the psychedelic honey, you're going to have to go on the black market and find it for a lot of money, or visit Nepal or these regions in Turkey that have these special bees, but not with our Italian honeybees that we all get our honey from. That's just not going to happen, at least unless you're jumping through some hoops to make it happen. I had to show my night blooming cereus again, because just when you think it's stopped blooming, you walk down and you discover it is blooming again. And the bees love this too. So just another flower that they love. Okay, by watching this whole video, you may have figured this out.
Guess what? I'm back.
Marcel, Are you sure about that? I thought our TV show was canceled in April.
I think he's right. My agent said all my palm trees is back.
I am still not so sure if this platform will work. Fingers crossed, but I'm excited. Thank you to Eddie for helping me out. He found this format that he thought could do recurring characters. I'm pretty excited right now, but I don't really know how to use it. It's a little hard. It's brand new to me, so I'm playing with it. We will see if we can bring back the soap opera. Fingers crossed. I only want to do it if I can bring Marcel and Donna and myself back into it. If they don't work and I don't work, I don't want to do it. But I've missed them and I've missed being silly every week, so we will see. I hope all of you have a great week. Get out there in the garden. Don't be afraid of Brugmansia and Datura. I hope I didn't scare you away. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Please like and subscribe and leave me comments. Thank you.